Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Arlen Harmonberger at Whisky Jewbilee in New York City, and we're going to learn about some whiskey.
Well, hello. My name is Clark. I am the East Coast brand ambassador for lovely Glenmorangie and Ardbeg single malt whiskeys. It's lovely to be here, of course, as always, at the Whisky Jewbilee, one of my favorite events in the entire world. I do have some beautiful Ardbeg whiskeys here for us today to enjoy. This is our delightful core range of Ardbegs, of course made off the west coast of Scotland on the Isle of Islay, an island of about 3,500 full-time residents and 8 distilleries, soon to be 9, possibly 10 in the near future. So it really is a whiskey island, and we have 4 fantastic expressions from our distillery that's, of course, over 200 years old here. We have our classic 10-year-old Ardbeg, all aged in ex-bourbon barrels. And then we move on to one of our newest core range releases here called Anneau, of course named after the famous Mullavo, which is a mountainous peninsula sort of off the southwest coast of the island, and this is aged in 3 different types of casks. We have some Pedro Jimenez sherry, we have virgin American oak, and refill bourbon, all being married together in some French oak marrying vats for about 6 months. And then moving up to one of my favorites, actually, probably my desert island whiskey, which is Ugadal, named after our water source on the island. This is a lock about 2-hour walk up the hill from the distillery, and this is predominantly aged in Oloroso sherry barrels. And then, of course, finishing up with the most hardcore of the hardcore Ardbegs, the Corrie Vrecken, names for the second largest oceanic whirlpool in the world, actually just north of Jura, which is a neighboring island. And this whiskey is driven by virgin French oak aged Ardbeg. And do you have time for one more whiskey? I know I'm probably babbling on endlessly here, but we do have something very special here today. This is our committee release for this year, commemorating Ardbeg Day, part of the last day of the Facial, which actually just happened a few days ago, and we released this whiskey. This is actually the committee edition of Grooves, and Grooves is aged in casks that we got from the south of France. They're dessert wine casks that were heavily recharred, and they've made a really, really delightful whiskey. I was actually just talking to a lass over here from one of our competitor brands, actually a brand we're very friendly with on the Isle of Islay called Bruichladdich, and she said that she tasted grilled jalapenos in this whiskey. And I tasted it after that, and I actually do concur. There is a delightful edge of grilled jalapenos. Would you concur, sir?
I would. It's one of my favorites.
This is my colleague Blake here as well, so he is a locally based lad here in New York. But thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoy the Jubilee.
Okay, so 45th Parallel is a distillery in New Richmond, Wisconsin. Family owned. They use grain all grown in Wisconsin and locally, and they do their own distillation. They're using Ozark oak and aging it in full-size barrels for a minimum 4 years. These are vintaged on these little tags here. There's a bourbon and a rye. These are both from 2013. They're very grain forward. A lot of spice, but warm, soft, yeah.
So here we have High West. This one is American Prairie Bourbon. It has a great, nice, sweet taste with it. Goes great with barbecues. Really great for summer. This one is Double Rye. It has a nice kick to it. If you like a little kick, you'd love Double Rye. This one is Rendezvous Rye. It's a little bit smoother than the Double Rye, and it goes down really great, really nice on the rocks. And this one's Campfire. If you like that smoky, harsh, fiery taste of whiskey, this one's your pick.
Hi, we are the Virginia Distillery Company, and tonight we have 2 of our expressions available. Our distillery is located just outside of Charlottesville, Virginia, in a town called Livingston, and our Virginia Highland line this evening is comprised of some of our on-premise distilled single malt and some imported single malt scotch. We marry the 2 single malts together and then put them in the different cask finishes. This evening we have our cider cask finish and our port cask finish, both available within the New York market.
Hi, I'm Joe Riggs, brand ambassador for Deutsch Family Whiskeys with Adam Tosto, our
District manager in New York.
And we're here with Biv and Tucker, Tennessee bourbon, Redemption wheated bourbon, bourbons and rye. We also have our barrel proof selection, as well as Masterson's 10-year straight Canadian rye.
Yeah, we're very happy to be part of this festival. Give everybody an opportunity to see our portfolio, all the way from the bourbons in Tennessee, all the way up to Canada and everything in between, Indiana obviously. And we're very happy to be here. So try our whiskey and l'chaim.
Hi, Boone County Distilling. I have 1833, which is my 10-year and 12-year age products. I also have 12-year single barrel.
This is David Manickle from Brockman's Gin. This is an English gin, but not a London dry. And the idea behind this gin was a gin you can drink straight, a gin that tastes like no other. And the quality and smoothness comes from the production. And the idea is that you would have something that is versatile, that you can make into great cocktails, but also something you could just drink straight and on the rocks by itself. One of the most amazing and beautiful gins on the market.
So our company is called Barrel Craft Spirits. We are a merchant bottler based in Louisville, Kentucky. We work with distilleries all around the world to make single release cask strength blends of all different spirits, focusing mostly on bourbon. So we have a bunch of different offerings today. We have our newest project, the Infinite Barrel Project. It's an ever-evolving whiskey, kind of like an anti-Solera. With each release, it changes a little bit. Started with 9 whiskeys from 4 different countries. We have 2 expressions of 9-year-old cask strength bourbon. We've got a single barrel of bourbon that's available at Blue Smoke right now. We have a Polish rye that's blended with Indiana rye and Tennessee rye. And we have a Jamaican rum finished in Isla casks.
Okay, we're here talking about Boondock's brands. We've got 4 different brands, 4 different expressions. This first expression is Boondock's American Whiskey. It's 95 proof. So what's American whiskey mean? It means that it's just made just like a bourbon, except it's aged in a used bourbon barrel. It's as complex as a bourbon, but it's milder, has a creamy flavor. It's 95 proof. This is the same whiskey, it's cask strength at 127 proof. And at 127 proof, it's still very genteel, but still very complex and flavorful. Okay, going down the line, this, by the way, this American whiskey is aged 11 years. This is bourbon that's been aged 8 years, but we did a little something different. We put it in a used port wine barrel, and we aged the bourbon for 3 to 4 months in that barrel. It makes it a very unique bourbon and port finish. Then we took the American whiskey and we did something very different with that. We added certain spices. It's called the Spice Project. We've added certain spices like nutmeg and cinnamon and cloves. It makes it a very unique, very tasty product. And that's it. Those are the 4 expressions of Boondocks.
So we have here today are 3 out of 4 of our small batch collections, led by Basil Hayden, which is about a 7-year-old bourbon with a double high rye content. Knob Creek, our high char 9-year-old bourbon, and then our high rye Knob Creek, as well as our pièce de résistance, the Booker's, which cask strength, and our master distillers, heart and soul.
All right, so we have 3 different distilleries on the table tonight. We have Benriach, Glendronach, and Glenglassa. We have traditional Speyside at Benriach, but we also have peated Speyside. We have Glendronach, 12, 18, and 21. Everything we do at Glendronach is sherry cask matured. We have raisin, dark chocolate sauce, lots of flavors coming out of Glendronach. And then our little niche distillery is Glenglassa here on the end. Glenglassa has 2 stills, been around since 1875, but been closed more than it's been open. And in this instance, we have all ex-Tennessee casks. So think bananas, vanillas, spice, lots of complexity.
This is American Barrels. It's a bourbon whiskey we make just outside of Charleston. It's 90 proof. It's got a really unique flavor profile. It's got about 35% rye in the mash, so it's going to be well balanced between the corn sweet and rye spice. Biggest thing people love about it is how smooth it is. There's no harsh chest bite at all. For the price, it's the best everyday drinker you can have. And the bottles kick ass. It's got a Gatson rattlesnake, shotgun shell casing on the base, and each bottle comes with a dog tag. We do lots of events that are geared for military charities. And if you like bourbon, this is definitely something you need to try.
So we have Glen Murray from the city of Elgin, distributed from Johnson Brothers of New York, who came here last February. We have the classic editions and the heritage editions, which are all age statements. The new addition to the classic is the sherry, followed by the 12, 15, and the 18, who topped 20 scotches of 2017. The Whiskey Advocate took number 10. That's it.
Pairing the right food at this event is critical. And Pip West, Ari White of Wandering Q gave attendees a truly unique experience, from delicious brisket to various types of meat and sausages. People were able to really enhance their experience at the event. Potato kugel and cholent definitely whet the palate to make this event truly delicious.
As you can see, Whisky Jewbilee is a fantastic event which brings Jews and non-Jews together to celebrate their love for whiskey and some delicious kosher food. This is Aaron Herman. Thank you for watching.